of the Topography of Discipleship. There are things natural, man-made, and even supernatural about true discipleship that can be observed. Discipleship includes learning from others how we begin living out a life that is full of purpose and meaning, contribution, investment, impartation, fruitfulness, and much more. Some things regarding discipleship can be learned by what's called osmosis. Jesus' disciples learned a great deal by osmosis, and they reported such in each of the New Testament Gospels. By mere observation, by choosing to follow him, by hanging around with him, by watching his every move, by heeding and repeating his words, and by learning from him by example. One of the observable elements of discipleship that Jesus' disciples caught, as well as were taught along the way, was that of service. The focal point of today's meditation or reflection is this: using your gifts and talents to serve others. I will use the word others as a teaching acrostic today. The O in others stands for open doors. Proverbs 18:16 says, "A person's gift or talent opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great." Some of you know that in the 1981 movie Chariots of Fire, the actor portraying runner Eric Liddell drove home to a whole new audience this important quote from Liddell, quote, "I believe that God made me for a purpose, but he also made me fast. And when I run, I feel his presence." My name is Chuck Butler, and one of my gifts or talents is singing. When I sing, I feel his pleasure. A poster that I saw years ago with the image of a beautiful guitar said, "He who sings prays twice." My gift is my connecting point with God, as running was for Eric Liddell. For me, singing is my other way of praying, of pleasing God, of teaching others, of confronting the enemy, of worshiping and or glorifying God. What is your particular gift or talent? You may not sense it quite yet or imagine what doors that gift might open for you in the future. Learning something when you are young seems best, but I do believe that you can teach an old dog new tricks. We had a dog once that was about 10 years old, so 70 in dog years. I actually taught it then to back up on voice command. I learned to play guitar when I was the ripe old age of 23. That was about 15 years after most kids that I knew were beginning to learn. I had learned only a handful of guitar chords and songs when my wife and I were called to England as missionaries in the early 1970s. On arrival, I began to play various simple worship songs with lyrics directly from the Bible for one of the godsons of Queen Elizabeth and many of his friends. My wife and I read scripture to them, taught Bible studies, and modeled how to pray out loud in conversational style. We were beginners, indeed, unprofessional, wet behind the ears, as they say, but we made ourselves and what we did know at that time available to others. The posh and professional young adults of central London thought to themselves, if they can do that, so can we. We gave away what we knew and loved. One by one, each of those young professionals began to pray and follow Jesus. They had also followed our simple, willing examples and in time became some of the most spiritually influential individuals and couples in the UK. When we next moved to the English countryside at the Lord's beckoning, a local Anglican vicar, he and his wife had just received Jesus personally, was invited to make a presentation about the Jesus movement as it was unfolding in both the UK and America. He needed an American co-presenter with first-hand experience regarding the movement in the States. We had just happened to move into the village in his parish where he lived. We loaded up his car with both his home movie and slide projectors, my guitar, and a few songs and chords that I knew, and a chart of my old bandmate Tom Stipe's song, "I've Got Life in Jesus." And off we went. The destination for me was still unknown. As we exited the highway, the town signage said Windsor, and we vigorously rolled up onto an apparent service driveway of what seemed to be a house looking quite a bit like a castle. 2 beefeater yeoman guards challenged us. They ID'd the vicar and then opened the gate. 2.5 hours later, we had presented to and lunched with all of the bishops of the Anglican Church in the library of Windsor Castle. My gifts were not honed perfectly for this purpose. They were just made available. Sometimes simple availability is far more important than one's current level of ability. I actually got to speak to the heads of the Church of England on behalf of the tens of thousands of young people who were yielding their lives fully and suddenly to Jesus in the UK, in America, and far beyond. I got to sing to them of the new life that we had found in Jesus. I got to testify that Jesus was moving mightily by his Holy Spirit in my heart, in the vicar's heart that I was with, and across many lands, many seas, and many cultures. As the proverb said, a man's gift brings him before great men. These were doors that God had truly opened and that no man could shut. The T in others stands for the servant of the Lord must not strive, be difficult, agitated, or quarrelsome with others. 2 Timothy 2:24. Athletes can certainly strive for masteries, as Paul says in 2 Timothy 2:5, but they must do that lawfully to win a crown. That, however, is a different kind of striving. Striving for excellence and to finish any designated race lawfully is a common endeavor and expected in the world of sports. The caution here, however, in verse 24, is not to strive, and that word here refers to the kind of strife that is generated by works of the flesh. Things like jealousy, bitterness, greed, self-ambition. The servant of the Lord, however, should instead, it says, be gentle unto all men, able to teach, patient, in meekness instructing those who oppose themselves, considering that God may still yet grant to them repentance toward the acknowledging of the truth, and that they still may be able to recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who has taken them captive at his will. It's a striving, difficult, agitated, quarrelsome individual that deters others from truly tasting and seeing that the Lord is good. So use your gift or gifts to serve, and remember, do not strive in this kind of quarrelsome way. The H in others stands for humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, Proverbs 27:2. It says, let someone else praise you and not your own mouth, an outsider and not your own lips. The focus should always be on God, the giver of gifts, the gifted one, and not on the gifts or the person that's being used by God. God gifts us not to draw attention to ourselves, but to serve others and to glorify him. The E in others stands for expect the unexpected. God will never be a debtor to us. As believers, when we choose to invest our gifts in serving others, we may experience the unexpected, that of being ministered to. There is a deep satisfaction and a recharging of our spiritual batteries that many people in the world would never expect. So many times when I've sacrificed what I've considered to be my time, when I was, in my mind, officially off duty, when I've felt well spent and even exhausted, it was then that I have also experienced God's enabling and God's heart for that one more wounded person standing before me, or conveying their need to me on the telephone, and who now requires my listening ear and my full attention. The chorus of a song that I recently wrote says this: one soul is worth all that we can give. One smile bears the reasons that we should live. And that's why the chapter where all fastens, still a good one. Remember, souls out there may be very thirsty, but you cannot outgive God. He loved them first. The R in others stands for ready to serve at all times. My students at the Bible college, where I taught for several years, would often say, I can't wait to finish school, to graduate and get into ministry. I would remind them that there were fellow students sitting shoulder to shoulder with them every day in classrooms, on campus, and in dorms. Faculty, administration, maintenance personnel, and school visitors were also present. If they didn't begin to minister to all of those surrounding them now, how would they minister effectively to those they would encounter after graduation? The learning how to minister and truly serve others starts today. There may be no opportunities later on. We must learn to be prepared in season and out of season. 2 Timothy 4:2. Finally, the S in others stands for servant of all. Jesus said in Mark 9:35, anyone who wants to be first must be the very last and the servant of all. Use your God-given gifts and talents to serve others. Servant leadership will never be a thing of the past, a useless model, or an irrelevant approach to ministry. All the gifts that we presently possess, all those we're still praying for and praying about, and all the gifts of the Spirit listed in Scripture are intended to be received and used then to benefit others. I trust you'll use all that God imparts to you to bless and to serve others. God bless you.